If I told you Torchwood Returned, you might not believe me. The last time we left the organisation, things were dismantled. The central organisation, Torchwood One, was destroyed and gone, leaving only Torchwood Three. However, under the command of Captain Jack Harkness, it was fully operational in defending Great Britain and Earth, though mostly Cardiff. Yet it also fell during the Children of the Earth situation. For example, the hub, Torchwood Three's main HQ, was fully destroyed. While Torchwood's remaining team members would defeat the 456 and eventually deal with the Miracle Day situation, unofficially, the organisation was essentially dead in the water. However, Torchwood would return in 2015. Former member Gwen Cooper and her husband Reese decided to restart the organisation. It was a complex job though, but the Torchwood 3 team was rebuilt as well as the original HQ, and they began operating against alien threats for a time, right in the heart of Cardiff once again. This is essentially part 2 in our Torchwood series. If you want to learn more about the organisation before its downfall, we suggest you watch that video first. This is the story of how Torchwood returned in the Doctor Who universe. Let's go. Greetings everyone, I'm Jack and welcome to Tardis Central. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Doctor Who news, lore and more, then hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Tardis Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. Most of the following bits of information are from a Big Finish audio drama series. These audios tell brand new stories set in the Doctor Who universe with the original actors now voicing their characters in audio format. It's well worth a listen. For the sake of this video, we won't reveal all the details about the audios, as they are worth listening to for yourself. Therefore, we'll touch on some topics lightly, without spoiling any major plot points, such as character development, you get what I mean there. So let's learn about Torchwood's return. In 2015, following the Miracle Day event, Gwen and Jack continued Torchwood as an underground operation. As the organisation began to retake shape, Gwen is essentially in charge of Torchwood, and Captain Jack Harkness is sort of floating around in and out. Gwen even took a job as an independent witness at a fracking site to finance the organisation. Though in typical Torchwood fashion, this caused her to discover an alien pathogen that had to be dealt with. Gwen sought to rebuild the headquarters of the fallen institute. She approached Cardiff City Council and Planning Officer Roger Pugh. After showing the council official her typical day work, the new Torchwood hub was approved. Even though Captain Jack Harkness had returned to the team fully in 2017, they still lacked members. St. John Colchester, a former soldier, was sent to help them rebuild Torchwood. John was a civil servant assigned to Torchwood to assist in the re-establishment. He also worked closely with Tyler Steele, a disgraced journalist who wants to put his past mistakes behind him, and Orr, an alien who can shift their physiology depending on what the person they're speaking to finds attractive. Interesting? During this time, Gwen finds herself possessed by NG, an alien entity who fled through the rift to escape from their master. Eventually, NG leaves Gwen's body and decides to live as herself, and Gwen does decide to leave Torchwood for a peaceful life with her husband and children. Other important figures involved in the new Torchwood include Andy Davidson, Gwen's former colleague in the police force. Andy had been investigating the weird stuff since 2011 when Torchwood was disbanded. Yvonne Hartman, who had crossed over from Pete's world and comes out of hiding after a decade to try and take charge of a new Torchwood. In our universe, Yvonne Hartman was the leader of a new Torchwood Institute and perished at the Battle of Canary Wharf. She still did her duty though.
I did my duty for Queen and country. I did my duty for Queen and country. I did my duty for Queen and country.
Together, they deal with a manner of all threats, with alien invasions, terrorists attacking refugees around Cardiff, and even the appearance of a god. It's never a quiet day for the team. One of the biggest threats dealt with by Torchwood was the Sorvix Occupation. The new team eventually learned more about these mysterious aliens. At the same time, not directly dealing with them, but rather cleaning up after them. One of the Sorvix, who had become the mayor of Cardiff, Rojeda, demanded Torchwood help them out. The dealings with the species somewhat fractured Torchwood once again. Harkness was investigating them closer and somewhat off the record. While foiling Rojeda's plans, Jack learned the aliens controlled Andy Davidson. Harkness contacted a known terrorist group called Red Doors. He did discover that Andy's actions were due to quantum splices, which had been implanted in police officers to discredit the force. The situation boiled over, and Jack was framed as a terrorist due to his dealings with the Red Doors organisation. It's at this point in time where Yvonne Hartman revealed herself and took control of Torchwood. Under her leadership, things were more efficient. Yvonne tolerated no mistakes and no betrayals. When she found out that the Sorvax had fled Cardiff, she killed Rojeda. However, this would come back to haunt her, as the Sorvix god went on a loose rampage in Cardiff and caused chaos. Yvonne even attempted to revive Ianto Jones, however she ended up with Norton Folgate instead. He did join the team, so not all was lost. Eventually, due to the issues and complications in dealing with the Sorvix, Torchwood suffered a big defeat. We don't want to spoil the large story here, but here are some details that affected the Torchwood Institute. The government once again blamed Torchwood for recent disasters via aliens and such. Therefore, the surviving Torchwood members fled Cardiff to escape being arrested. Yvonne stayed behind as leader, so Andy had to arrest her. This resulted in the organisation being shut down once again. Yvonne was tried in secret and imprisoned at HPM Whitcastle. By 2020, the 13th Doctor knew Torchwood was gone, Captain Jack vanished, and Yvonne discreetly directed Torchwood via a temp agency. A few members were still operating and dealing with some threats, but they lacked the resources they originally had access to. They were still unable to contact Harkness, who had disappeared entirely. Torchwood would be operational again in the late 2020s, but that's a story for another time. Torchwood 1 and 3 are the best known branches of the organisation, but there are many more, and these are just the ones we even know of. Torchwood 2 existed in Glasgow and was based near the waterfront on the River Clyde. Its leader was Archie, known as Old Tartan Archie. He was unfortunately rapidly aged and was attacked by a life stealer in the London branch of Torchwood in 1899. While he recovered, he never aged, and appeared 80 years old for over a century. There is no definitive date for this branch's creation, but it can be assumed it would have been in the early 20th century since they sent Alice Guppy to Torchwood 3. These two branches would remain well connected and be in contact frequently. However, by 2009, Torchwood 2, like all other branches, was out of operation. Torchwood 4 is one of the most mysterious of all of them. It disappeared and nobody knows quite what happened to it. Captain Jack was convinced they would find it one day, but it still has never been discovered. Susie Costello tried to find it and had written up many reports to document her search. She even went off to investigate a black spot in Iceland, hoping it was the missing Torchwood branch, but instead she found a crashed ship and an alien threat, because of course she did. The other branches of Torchwood that we know of aren't numbered, with Torchwood India, which began in 1887 and closed in 1924. It was again founded by Queen Victoria and run by Eleanor, Duchess of Melrose. This branch maintained its secrecy by putting up a front as a Royal Cognate Club. Despite closing down in the 1920s, as the British were losing their control in India, in 2009, Torchwood 3 discovered something going on there at the former Torchwood site. Eleanor and her team had kept the branch trapped in a time store, preventing him from passing the time. To do this, they saw the potential futures of innocent victims and killed him to keep it up. Upon their investigation, Torchwood 3 found that Eleanor intended to return the whole world to 1924. Luckily, they couldn't do it, and the time store overloaded, freezing the entire building in time. Finally, we come to Torchwood Los Angeles. Again, little is known of this branch other than it was set up in the 70s by a Torchwood agent known as Mr. Blemish. The team comprises Marlo Sweet, Charlotte DeBourge, and Gabriela Martinez, who were all given missions over the phone by Beamish, much like Charlie's Angels. Together, they investigated multiple events in Roswell, met Terrelipsis, and investigated disappearances, which turned out due to be an agent selling his clients to aliens who wanted to preserve them as dolls. Yeah, weird. It was on this mission that a tragedy changed the team forever. While rescuing actress Valerie Fox, Charlotte is shot and killed. Valerie takes her place on the team, but the gang splits from Beamish to do their own thing and ignore his future calls. Torchwood would continue into the late 21st century and past it. Throughout Doctor Who, we've seen many references to the future of the Torchwood Institute. Another example is via the audio story Asylum, which tells that Torchwood 3 was eventually capable of controlling the Rift. Eventually, the Institute would transform into the Torchwood Archive, at least by the 42nd century. We see this in the episode The Satan Pit, where Mr. Zachary Cross-Flane was sent on a Walker expedition to Krop Tor to represent the archive. The episode Bad Wolf tells the Great Cobalt Pyramid was built on the ruins of the Torchwood Institute, though this is never clear if it's Torchwood 3 or any of the other organisation's other bases or outposts. So that's it for Torchwood. It's a massive, complicated organisation of secrets, lies, conspiracies, and tragic consequences for most people involved. It's all worth it for the good of saving humanity. It's a perfect example of a phrase, it's a hard job, but somebody has to do it. The only thing is, now you know too much, and the next time there's a knock at your door, or someone seems to be following you, they might be coming to make sure you forget all you know about Torchwood. Good luck out there, fellow Whovians. So yes, Torchwood returned in some capacity, but will we be back in the future of Doctor Who? No really, that is our big question we'll leave you with. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Doctor Who news, lore, and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Tardis Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Doctor Who universe. That's it from Tardis Central. I've been Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.